Hi, this is Karen Gosling from Change Your Man Toolkit, talking with you about the tool Monogamous Mate. And this is the tool that you could be using when you want your man to make a commitment to you. I remember once a chap called Jordan came to see me in counselling, and it was interesting that it was actually the guy that came to see me because he'd been in a relationship with Amy for quite some time, and he was puzzled as to why he was feeling reluctant to make a commitment to Amy. I mean, he had never felt before that he wanted to settle down, but with Amy, he did feel as though he could spend the rest of his life with her. And he'd actually even bought a ring and hidden it at home, ready to give to her. But he just chickened out every time it was time for him to even think about proposing to her. He chickened out. They had made plans about their future, they talked about a future, but he just couldn't make that final commitment. So I talked about that with him in the counselling, and I said to him, you know, Jordan, were you with other women before Amy? And he said, yes, you know, I'm in my 30s and I did have other short-term and long-term relationships, but never with anybody, you know, I never felt with anybody like I feel with Amy. And I said, well, have you been with any other women since Amy? And he said, at the beginning, yes, before we really became an item. You know, I had some other girlfriends and I was seeing other women. But, you know, once she and I became an item, then I've been faithful to her, and I'm quite sure that she has been faithful to me the whole time. So, you know, why is it that I find it difficult to make this commitment? Why do I find it difficult to propose to her? And what Jordan was able to identify after we had teased it out a little bit more within the counselling session was that Jordan was fearful that after he'd made a commitment or a promise to Amy, that some other gorgeous girl would walk around the corner and that he would have the feeling of missing out on an opportunity. It was a fear that there might be somebody better who might still come along, and that he would be trapped within the relationship with Amy, and he was reluctant to feel that feeling of being trapped. This is not an uncommon feeling. Men will often experience this feeling. They may not be able to articulate it, but they can certainly experience it. And I also pointed out to him that men and women feel really differently, because when you're in a relationship, if you're just going out together, for example, women will start to nest as soon as there is kindness and communication and sexual intimacy. That those three items, or those three ingredients, really are what a woman needs to start to nest and start planning about, you know, a future and having that little relationship into the future. A man won't start nesting at all. He can have the sexual involvement with a woman, but he will assume that until the words of commitment are spoken, that he is still free to go, to go and have a relationship elsewhere. And a lot of disagreement and unmet expectations come about because of this difference in how men and women assume loyalty or monogamy, just loyalty to the relationship, until such time as a wedding occurs. So the key, the tool Monogamous Mate, is do not assume commitment by your man. You must have the conversation. Do not just presume that because you are faithful in the relationship, he also assumes, or that he's also faithful in the relationship. That may not be his assumption. So have the conversation and set some expectations, and recognize, the two of you need to recognize that a commitment is not a feeling. A commitment is a decision, and it is a daily decision. You know, when you actually make a commitment, it is saying, I intend to be with you and I will behave in a way that I will be faithful to you. And this is what I want to do, and this is what I intend to do. You know, but every day you drive into your driveway at home, you have a meal with your partner, you go to bed with your partner. That is a daily decision. You may not realize it, but no one's forcing you to do that. And it's on the day that you drive into somebody else's driveway and have a meal with somebody else at their home, or go to bed with somebody else, that's the day that you've broken your commitment. You can recommit to your partner, of course. There may be some consequences that you have to endure for that period of time that you've broken a commitment. But a commitment is a decision, and it is a decision that needs to be talked through so that you each know what the other's expectations are. Bye.